Welcome to Revelation and the Three Woes. This is a short introductory video to the Making Revelation Simple commentary on the book of Revelation. So who or what are the three woes? The three woes are not a man-made phrase or gimmick. The words come directly from the book of Revelation. They're a direct quote from an angel who John sees flying in the midst of heaven. John quotes the angel who is announcing the great calamity and trouble that is about to come upon the world. It's nearly impossible to accurately interpret the book of Revelation without a thorough understanding of the foundational timeline which is established by the three woes. Let's look at that verse. It's found at Revelation chapter 8, verse 13, where John says, I beheld and heard an angel flying through the midst of heaven, saying with a loud voice, Woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of the earth, by reason of the other voices of the trumpet of the three angels which are yet to sound. The all-important thing you notice in this last verse of chapter 8 is that the angel ties one woe to one of each of the three trumpet judgment angels which are yet to sound. Therefore, each woe corresponds to the activities of one of the three remaining trumpet judgment angels. Let's look at the activities of each of those last three trumpet judgment angels by first examining where the angel begins to sound and where each woe comes to an end. This is denoted by the start and stop labels on the following charts. Looking at the chart, we see the fifth trumpet judgment angel begins to sound at Revelation 9:1, where we see the green start button. This angel completes his sounding at Revelation 9:12, where we see the red stop label, and we are told one woe is past. This chart shows the green start label at Revelation 9:13, where we see the sounding of the sixth trumpet judgment angel. We can quickly see that this sixth trumpet judgment angel sounds immediately after the fifth angel's activity has been completed. As we scan to the bottom of the chart, we again see a red stop label at Revelation 11:14, where we are told the second woe is past. In this third chart, we find another green start label at Revelation 11:15, where the sounding of the seventh trumpet judgment angel occurs. Once again, this sounding takes place immediately following the completion of the activities associated with the work of the sixth trumpet judgment angel. As we scan to the bottom of this chart, we find another red stop label at Revelation 16:17. However, we soon notice that the expected phrase, the third woe is past, is missing. Instead, we find the phrase, it is done. The phrase it is done tells us that the seventh vial bowl judgment angel has finished pouring out his vial or bowl of wrath upon the earth. It also marks the conclusion of the wrath tied to the sounding of the seventh trumpet judgment angel. In addition, this phrase marks the culmination of everything associated with the opening of the seventh seal. As we examine the activities of the three woes, we notice the first woe, which corresponds to the fifth trumpet judgment angel, had one prophetic event, which had an assigned time frame. That event told us that locusts would torment men for 5 months. As we move on and look at the second woe, which corresponds to the sixth trumpet judgment angel, we find that this woe had two prophetic events, each with an assigned time frame. One event was the Gentiles controlling the holy city for 42 months, and the other event was the two witnesses prophesying for 42 months. Most of us correctly associate the two witnesses with the first one half of the 7 years of Jacob's trouble. So, are these two prophecies happening simultaneously or sequentially? Well, let's look at that. To accurately answer that question, we will need to look at the prophecies of the third woe. The third woe corresponds to the seventh trumpet judgment angel. This angel has three prophetic events, each with an assigned time frame. One was the woman, who is Israel, fleeing into the wilderness for 42 months. The second was the dragon persecuting the woman for 42 months. And the third was the Antichrist making war against the saints, or the woman, for 42 months. The second woe had two 42-month-long prophecies. If they were sequential, they could have been a perfect match for the 7 years of Jacob's trouble. However, when we consider the third woe with its three 42-month-long prophecies, we're pointed to a new interpretation. Taking the second and third woes together, there are a total of five 42-month-long time frames. If they occur sequentially, that comes to a total of 17½ years. However, if the prophecies occur simultaneously within their respective woes, then we suddenly have a 7-year time frame whose prophecies are a direct match for the 7 years of Jacob's trouble. If the prophecies of the second woe occur simultaneously, and the prophecies of the third woe also occur simultaneously, then we may have just discovered Daniel's 70th week. Could this be? Well, the answer to that question is yes. The angel is only able to present to John one prophecy at a time, and John is only able to tell us about one prophecy at a time. Likewise, we can only read about one prophecy at a time. Thus, the prophecies seem to be happening sequentially, even though they are actually simultaneous events, as shown in the bottom half of the chart on the next slide. Looking at this chart, you'll see the green and red bars here at the beginning and end of each of these fifth, sixth, and seventh trumpet judgment angels. They correlate to the labels that we saw in the charts earlier. What we're portraying here is that these three activities here within the sixth angel look like they're happening sequentially because that's how John gives them to us in the scriptures. Likewise with these three activities with the seventh angel. But they're actually happening simultaneously, as shown down here on the bottom half of this screen, and the same way with these three over here. That then yields us 3½ years for the sixth trumpet judgment angel and 3½ years for the seventh trumpet judgment angel, which is an exact marriage up with the 7 years of Jacob's trouble. The 7 years of Jacob's trouble is clearly being depicted in the chart on the previous slide. The chart assigns 3½ years to the second woe and 3½ years to the third woe. The Bible calls this time frame Daniel's 70th week. The church world has come to call this time frame the Great Tribulation. Thank you for watching this introductory video. I'll leave you with the previous chart and then close up with a chart at the end.